The first time I saw the policy, I thought it was a mistake. The coverage amount was $2 million. The beneficiary was my wife. The signature at the bottom was mine. I never signed it. The effective date was 3 months ago, 3 weeks before she started asking if I still rode my motorcycle to work. My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm 34 years old. I work as a senior risk analyst for a national insurance company. My job is to calculate probabilities, accidents, illness, fraud. I spend my days reviewing life insurance applications. I look for inconsistencies, medical gaps, financial motives, unusual coverage increases, patterns that don't make sense. I've built my entire career on identifying red flags, which is why it still shocks me that I didn't see the first one in my own home. My wife, Claire, and I have been married for 6 years. No children, no major debts. We own a modest house, 2 cars. One of them is my motorcycle. Claire hates the motorcycle. She says it's dangerous. She says it makes her anxious. 3 months ago, she asked me if I had updated my life insurance through work. I told her I had basic coverage, nothing excessive. She said we should think long-term. I agreed in theory. I just didn't realize she had already acted. I discovered the policy during a routine internal audit. It was flagged in the system because of the coverage amount. $2 million. Private policy. Recently activated. My name is the insured. Claire listed as sole beneficiary. My electronic signature attached. That's when something inside me went cold. Because I know how policies work, and I know what motivates people to increase coverage that aggressively. The policy was issued through a partner brokerage firm, not directly through my employer, which meant it required full underwriting, medical history, income verification, lifestyle risk assessment. I accessed the file internally. I wasn't supposed to, but I did. The application listed my income accurately, my health profile accurately. Even my motorcycle was disclosed, marked as recreational risk. There was a note attached from the underwriting team. Client requested expedited processing. Client, not insured. Client. I checked the payment method next. Monthly automatic withdrawals from Claire's personal account, not our joint account. That meant she didn't want me to see it casually. The medical exam report was attached as well. I never scheduled a medical exam, but the file showed one completed. Home visit, blood work, blood pressure, EKG. The signature authorizing the nurse's visit was mine. Perfectly replicated. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. There are only 2 reasons someone increases life coverage that drastically: debt or exit strategy. We had no major debt. I checked the policy riders. Accidental death benefit included. Double payout for vehicular incidents. Motorcycle classified under high-risk activity. Payout in that case, $4 million. My hands felt cold. 3 weeks ago, Claire asked if I still took the Canyon Road to work. She said traffic downtown made her nervous for me. She suggested the Canyon Road instead. The Canyon Road has no guardrails. Mini Verada. This wasn't just coverage. It was positioning. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted to see how she behaved. That night, I came home at my usual time. Claire was cooking dinner. She kissed me like she always did. Nothing unusual. Nothing tense. I watched her carefully. She seemed relaxed, almost cheerful. After dinner, I mentioned insurance casually. Someone at work had their coverage increased unexpectedly, I said. She looked up briefly. Oh? Yeah, I continued. Turns out his wife pushed for it. She smiled lightly. Well, that's smart, she said. Smart. I nodded. I guess it depends on the reason. She didn't respond to that. Instead, she asked if I had scheduled maintenance for my motorcycle. The timing of that question was precise. Too precise. 2 days later, I asked her directly, "Did you take out a life insurance policy on me?" She froze for half a second. Then she exhaled. "Yes," she said calmly. "You weren't going to do it yourself. You forged my signature." "It's paperwork," she replied. "Paperwork." That's illegal, I said. She shrugged slightly. You work in insurance. I assumed you'd understand the value. The value. $2 million? It's security, she insisted. For who? For me. For us. Us. I asked about the accidental rider. She said it was standard. It wasn't. I asked about the double payout clause. She said the broker recommended it. I asked about expediting the policy. She said she didn't want delays. Every answer was technically plausible, individually harmless, collectively calculated. Then she said something that changed the temperature in the room. If something ever happened to you, I'd need stability. Need, not want. Need. Mini Verada. She wasn't panicked about being caught. She was confident in her reasoning. After that conversation, I stopped reacting emotionally. I started observing. Patterns reveal intent. Intent reveals motive. Claire began asking subtle questions. What time I left work. Which route I took home. Whether I still rode in the rain. If I ever felt dizzy while riding. At first they sounded like concern. Then they sounded like data collection. I checked our home security logs. 2 weeks ago, someone had accessed my office drawer. The drawer where I kept my passport, my birth certificate copy, my social security card. There was no sign of forced entry, just access. I checked our shared cloud storage. A folder labeled Estate Planning had been created. I never created it. Inside were scanned copies of my documents. Updated. Organized. There was also a spreadsheet. Projected payout scenarios. Base coverage. Accidental rider. Time until policy maturity. Projected mortgage payoff. Remaining balance after taxes. Estimated surplus. 3.4 million. My breathing slowed. I've investigated fraud cases for years. People preparing for tragedy usually focus on protection. This looked like forecasting. 2 nights later, Claire asked if I had considered selling the motorcycle. I asked why. She said, "It's just a risk factor." Risk factor. The same terminology used in underwriting. I hadn't told her about the accidental rider clause, but she knew the word risk. The next morning, I checked something else. Her browsing history. I didn't need to hack anything. She forgot to log out of our shared tablet. Search results included: how long before life insurance pays out? Does life insurance investigate accidental death? Motorcycle fatality statistics. I closed the tablet slowly. Mini Verada. This wasn't about preparation anymore. It was about timing. I decided to test her. Not emotionally, structurally. At work, I placed a quiet internal review request on my own policy. If there were irregularities, underwriting would flag them. By afternoon, I received a response. The medical exam file had a discrepancy. The nurse who supposedly visited my house never logged a physical appointment under my address. The biometric data matched my historical records, which meant one thing. Someone had reused old medical data from my employer policy. That required access. Internal access. I checked the broker listed on the policy. Independent contractor, recently licensed. Commission-heavy incentive structure. I called him anonymously. He answered on the third ring. I asked about high-value policies with accelerated approval. He sounded rehearsed. Spouses often initiate coverage, he said, especially if one partner works in insurance and understands the industry. Understands the industry. I asked how he handled digital signatures. He laughed lightly. Clients sometimes pre-authorize documents. Pre-authorize. I ended the call. That night, I told Claire something deliberate. I'm thinking about reducing my riding time. She didn't look relieved. She looked disappointed. Only for a second. But I saw it. 2 days later, I received a notification from the insurance system. The policy had been updated. Accidental rider removed. Base coverage unchanged. That meant she was monitoring the file, which meant she knew I had accessed it. She wasn't escalating. She was adjusting. Mini Verada. This wasn't a murder plot. It was a financial contingency plan. I waited 3 days before saying anything. I wanted her to think the adjustment worked. On the fourth night, I placed a printed copy of her search history on the table. She stared at it for a long time. Then she looked at me. "You went through my browser." "Yes," I said calmly. She didn't deny the searches. She didn't apologize either. "I needed information," she said. "About what?" "About stability." I told her I had verified the medical exam discrepancy. Her expression changed slightly. Not fear, calculation. "I wasn't planning anything," she said. "Then why forge my signature?" "Because you would have said no." That was honest. "Why 2 million?" "Because 1 million isn't enough anymore." "For what?" She finally said it. "I can't live small if something happens to you." Small. So, this was lifestyle protection? "It was survival planning," she corrected. "Survival planning requires belief in catastrophe." I asked her one final question. "If nothing ever happened to me, would you have told me?" She hesitated. That hesitation lasted exactly 3 seconds. "No." The silence after that answer was heavier than anything else she'd said. Mini virata. The policy wasn't about my death. It was about her independence. The next morning, I contacted the insurance carrier directly. I filed a formal fraud notice, not criminal, administrative. The policy was frozen pending investigation. Claire received the notification within hours. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She asked one question. "Are you divorcing me?" I answered honestly. "I don't know yet." Trust isn't destroyed by money. It's destroyed by intent. And I no longer trusted hers. 2 weeks later, the policy was officially voided. The broker's license was suspended pending review. Claire never blamed him. She blamed me. For overreacting. For misunderstanding planning. For making it bigger than it was. Maybe she was right about one thing. Nothing had happened to me. But something had happened to us. I moved into the guest room. Then into a short-term rental. We began separation paperwork quietly. No screaming, no public drama. Just documentation. The same way it started. With paperwork. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. No alimony, no assets contested. Clean exit. The motorcycle is still in my garage. I still ride the canyon road sometimes. But now when someone asks me about life insurance, I tell them something simple. Mini fictional. The most dangerous risk isn't death. It's realizing someone already calculated the value of it. I calculate risk for a living. I quantify probability. I assign numbers to uncertainty. But there's no formula for betrayal, no spreadsheet for intent. She didn't try to kill me. She just prepared for it. And the day I saw my own life priced at $2 million was the day I understood I was already alone.